So the title of my speech is Silence is Deafening. What do you see when you look at this picture? A little girl who looks happy, healthy. What you're actually looking at is a little girl who had what would have been a normal life stolen from her. A girl who had no one to stand up for her. A girl who just needed someone to care. She is known as Genie. Genie was born in 1957. She was a healthy baby with no health problems to speak of. Genie's only problem was she was born the daughter of two useless human beings. This is what happens when a child is tied to a potty chair for 12 years of their life. You may be thinking, 12 years, she doesn't look much older than 7 or 8. Well, this is what you may look like if you were isolated in a room and malnourished due to not being fed. This is what a child looks like who is never let out to play or even walk. Genie was tied to her bed at night and tied to her potty chair during the day. This went on from the time she was 20 months old until she was 12 years old. You may be wondering how this could happen. You may be wondering what brought all this to pass. It likely started with a doctor appointment where Genie was examined by the doctor due to being sick. The doctor observed that Genie was not meeting many of the benchmarks for children her age. So the doctor tells her father that Genie could possibly be mentally disabled. When her father heard this, he decided that he would isolate her and hide her existence from the outside world. So the sentence was laid out. Genie was banished to her room to be isolated indefinitely. The father ordered that this little one be kept completely silent because he didn't like any loud noises. If Genie wasn't silent, she would be punished viciously. Now one would think that the first thing Genie's mother would do was take her child and escape. Did she? No. So Genie was tied to her crib at night so she could not escape, and during the day she was tied to her potty chair. If Genie made any noise, she was brutally beaten. She was only fed baby foods or mashed up foods, and this was her life for 12 years. During a trip with Genie to the welfare office in Los Angeles, California on November 4th, 1970, Genie's mother accidentally walked into the social services office instead of the welfare office. A social worker immediately sees Genie and knows there's something wrong with the girl. Upon finding out that this very small, frail little girl was actually 12 years old, the police were immediately called. That same day, Genie was removed from her parents' custody and her parents were arrested. Upon being removed, Genie was immediately taken to Los Angeles Children's Hospital, where scientists and psychologists quickly heard of her story and came for an opportunity to study the first modern-day feral or wild child. So the parade of scientists starts. They come to study to see if human speech can be developed after what is known as a critical period. Without going too far into the story, scientists got their funding to study Genie, to see if, among other things, she can still mentally develop language skills. The scientists and psychologists immediately take to or are drawn to Genie. This parade of people continues until the money dries up. What happens then? You guessed it. These scientists who said they cared so much for Genie and had only her best interest at heart drop her like a bad habit, and eventually they disappear from her life. A sad story only gets sadder. Genie is passed from foster home to foster home where she is abused even further. I wish I could say this story has a happy ending, but it doesn't. Genie, as of 2008, was last known to be in a confinement home in Los Angeles, California, where she will likely be until her death. Genie has regressed and is once again mute. She suffers in silence. Her silence is deafening. So why is it that I chose this topic to do my speech on? What was the point I was hoping to get across here? What can we learn from this heartbreaking story? We're the future of America. You're the future leaders of your families. Some of you are leaders right now in your groups of friends, and for some reason, we have this idea that we can't change things. We have the idea that we can't leave a mark on the world. If you get nothing else from this story today, I want you to understand that thinking you can't make a difference is simply not true. You have the ability to change your world. You see, Genie's parents changed her world. They robbed her of what could have been a bright future, and now she's left in a world of silence that she can't escape from. Let me ask you, will you continue to be silent? How will you be remembered in this life? Will you just be another face in the crowd, or will you stand up and start to try to change this world? Stand up for the Genies that don't have a voice. Be a leader and make a difference. Silence is deafening.